ShinRobjira.
What's going on there, friends and neighbors? ShinRobjira. You should know this by now. And today for G2014-a-thon episode 4, you are going to essentially be viewing what was originally going to be 7 separate videos, just now all in one. Yeah, this was supposed to be like a Monday to Sunday type deal, but that just seemed annoying, both to myself and likely all of you. So I took the idea, mashed it all together, and now we are going to be talking about a slew of Godzilla 2014 themed minifigures. So hey, I hope you enjoy.
Number 1. Bandai America.
And they come in at small inches large. Now these figures were packaged as sets. So up first, we're going to take a look at Battle Damaged Godzilla and the female Muto. Now when I originally reviewed these, I had no idea what exactly about this guy was considered battle damaged, save for Jesus Christ Thunder Thighs. Well, then somebody pointed out, that's the battle damage right there. He's missing a piece of his armor-plated skin. Bro looks like a tiled floor out in Newark, New Jersey. But anyway, as you can see, the detailing on this little gentleman is actually quite nice. His front-on shot is, yeah, you know what? That's just adorable. I was gonna say goofy, but no, that's just great, adorable dude. He's got his little balled up fists, his gigantic chicken wing looking friggin' thighs and legs, and the separation between underbelly to just plain skin. Oh, he's got a missing part there too. Look at that. He really is battle damaged. My thighs are a battleground. And the detail, is that another one over there? Jesus Christ, I've had these things for 10 years and I'm only noticing this now. The detailing on this little chicken nugget of nuclear radiation is simply lovely. I'm amazed at just what Bandai America were able to do with something so very small. And since the goal was to make Godzilla chunky and adorable and tiny, I think they pretty much nailed it. We've got nicely painted teeth, a nice little pink tongue in there. I don't think, no detailings on the roof of his mouth. Some big yellow eyes and black pupils. I guess the most impressive thing about this little dude is going to be the skin over here, as it doesn't look all bunched up. It actually looks like some time and care was put into his appearance, and even the little dorsal fins have tiny little minute details on them. The underside of the tail and the underbelly at large is going to look utterly fantastic. Is that another piece of battle damage? Jesus Christ! And honestly, I can't give this guy anything but 2 solid stars in terms of paint and detail because the assignment was understood. Now let's take a look at Mommy Muto. Mommy Muto over here is going to be looking fantastic. Beautiful, beautiful detailings on the underside of her head over here. I mean, just look at that dump truck. And while the rest of the details on the back side of the figure are a little here nor there, just some obvious separations and such, it still looks pretty damn good for a figure that's under 2 inches tall. On the front of the figure, we're gonna get that smooth dome-looking head with these little slits up here. I don't know what those could possibly be. Her eye is going to be this long streak of red stretching from the tip of her nose to about, yeah, just at the back of her head. Not too many details going on within and around the mouth, but you can see a little bit of differences going on within there. Now, the most detailed area on this gal is going to be right here. Homegirl looked like she swallowed a Cocoa Puff whole because look at that. There's going to be some decent little ridges on her abdomen over here, her pregnant little belly, and you actually will see her little alien queen arms going on under there. It's great. I mean, for a tiny little under 2 inch sized figure, I think they made Mommy Muto look really adorable, honestly. And I really did enjoy the two-tone thing that they were doing. 2 of the arms being red, the rest being the base color. It helped the figures pop a bit, because if these were gray, actually that would have looked pretty cool. Mommy Muto is going to receive 2 solid stars in terms of paint and detail. Set number 2. So we've got Chicken Nugget Roaring Godzilla over here. He won't feature any battle damage, and I don't believe he was given a proper specification. It was just Godzilla with not 8-legged Muto. And again, like the previous Godzilla we just took a look at, the detailing on this little guy is simply fantastic. Yeah, he do be dusty. I'm sorry, I can't get them all. Don't worry, buddy, I'll give you a good dusting after this. I don't mind the fact that the detailing towards his snout and his chin kind of gets a little textures haven't fully popped in yet looking, just because everything else on this little chibi dude just looks great. Once again, very big fan of the big yellow eyes, lovingly painted teeth, nice little pink tongue in his mouth, and again, I have to give credit to what Bandai America did with this little chibi chicken nugget goji. The details are fantastic. The paintwork, while minimal, absolutely does work, and and it's gonna be hard for me to give this thing anything but 2 solid stars in terms of paint and detail. And now for the male Muto, the flying Muto, or Hawk Muto. He is definitely going to be featuring more details than the female Muto. I mean, just look at the musculature details on these wings. Is bro wearing a thong? Hey man, rock what you rock. Gonna have some nice and tiny little detailings under the side of his head and on the side of his face. Again, that red streak for his eye, just like the female Muto, is going to start at his nose and end just at the tip of his head. More details, more details, more details. Tiny little hoofed feet, and his 2 arms out in front of him looking like he's simping hard. And we knew he was simping hard. He brought homegirl a nuclear warhead. That's love, bro. Male Muto is going to receive 2 solid stars in terms of paint and detailing. And that's about it for Bandai America in this video. Now, let's take a weird left turn to something that I never heard of before and haven't seen much of after.
Number 2, RP Minis. Coming in at over 3 inches tall.
So, Godzilla with light and sound over here, as he was so affectionately known as back in the day. He was one of the first G2014 figures I actually picked up. It was a random pre-order on Amazon. Didn't care if it was official or not, but I'm pretty sure everybody picked this little thing up simply for the figure, because if you didn't know, I don't just keep this box for collector's sake, it actually houses a sticker book. Sticker. So within this 2014 book is going to exist some stickers. I believe I only used one of the stickers, and I put it on my stereo speakers and everything. And, you know, some of this is promo art. Some of this was probably just concept art at one point or another. I guess this is the one I used. But, yeah. Oh. That was the one I used. Okay. It's a fun... Okay, I used more than one. Never mind, I'm a liar. It was a fun little inclusion. Everybody bought it for the figure. Here's what the back of the box looks like, and I paid $13 for this? Jeez! Godzilla, Godzilla, Godzilla. Godzilla, Godzilla, Godzilla. Running press, huh? Listing said this was by friggin' RP Minis. So now in taking a look at the figure, I mean... it doesn't look bad. I mean, it's not great. I don't know if it's $13 worthy, but I mean, my pointer finger is bigger than his head. Mostly. So when taking a closer look at this, yeah, he's got N64 villain syndrome. He's got the tiny beady little eyes and such. The teeth aren't crazily discernible. I think I can count like 3 up there. It's more so moving down from the head into the body and the arms and the legs and everything where you're going to see most of the detail adorning this thing. Godzilla 2014 Foot Wars brought back to my consciousness, and we're going to see that besides the eyes, he is going to have a little bit of underbelly paint going on over here. The gills are on full display. His arms look like bootleg arms. You can still see a bit of them molting on them. Big and obvious seams on them, but it's okay, it's fine. Yeah, this dude does take watch batteries, and yes, there will be some decent detailing on the underside of his tail. His tail do be rather short and stumpy as opposed to what 2014 Godzilla is supposed to look like, and now we have the dorsal fins. Not the craziest looking things I've seen on a 2014 figure. Looks like the glue is finally starting to crack off of them, but this figure actually holds a bit of a secret to it. One that many people, kind of didn't know how to activate, so all you have to do is press down on his biggest dorsal fin, and... yes, his mouth will light up and he will roar. If you couldn't hear it from that recording... yeah. Amazing how this tiny little bootleggish thing survived getting its batteries changed, but the giant fuck-off Godzilla didn't. Yeah, I'm salty. I believe you had to put the tail on, but it doesn't really move beyond all of this. Yeah, that's why. It's... okay, well, I know that now. I forgore! His arms will be able to swivel all the way around on both sides. Nothing in the head, nothing in the feet. As discussed already, nothing at the tail. And then his mouth just lights up and he roars. For what it is, this little gentleman ain't bad at all. I'll give him a solid star in terms of his little gimmick. I genuinely can't say that this was worth $13, but oh boy. You know what this guy is listed for on Amazon? Yeah. How about that? Half a star in terms of paint. Detail, I'll give a merciful full star. Hey! Wake up! Yeah, don't you fall asleep on me and click off this video. We've got another weird turn to take.
Number 3, Yubi's Fingerines. Coming in at size XS.
Yeah, I'm not sure if Yubi's Fingerines is still even making Godzilla stuff. I haven't seen their name pop up in a rather long while, but for anybody interested, I actually did unbox a bunch of these back in 2019, so if you want to see more of how these look, and I assure you they look godless, yeah, just check the link in the description below. Up first is Garagoji standing in the fire, and the fire looks kind of delicious. I don't know what it is. A bit messily applied in some areas, as you can see, but the overall consensus and the overall jam this guy presents is actually pretty cool. I don't know what's going on with the random blues over here. It's been on this thing since I got it, but hey, what can you do? The crest whitening strip teeth are back in full force. We've got a plump little red tongue in there. He's got Majura's mask, Odola's eyes going on. But you know what? I will say the detailing for, you know, a cheaply made rubber finger puppet, it doesn't look too bad. Granted, this has got nothing on Ensky's Fingerines, their little finger puppets that I've talked about in the past. I gotta give Yubi some credit here. They did a damn fine job. They even painted the underside of his tail, for fuck's sakes. And unlike the Ensky Soft V vinyl puppet mascot thingies, these guys are actually a nice, malleable rubber. So when you shove your finger into them, you're not going to get hurt. And yeah, screw on. Now it's time for Standard Goji, which is going to feature a bit of the same, a different pose, but a much cleaner and nicer look. Yeah, he's still gonna have Odola's eyes and he's gonna have the crest whitening strips and such, but this is a damn fine figurine. Decent paint applications, lovely little detailings on him. I mean, how could anyone hate this? Story time. I had this guy hanging from my rear view mirror in my car, and I got pulled over by a cop, and the dude takes this guy right off that little square that hangs from your rear view mirror to adjust it, and he was like, "What is this, a monkey?" I'm like, what fucking movies are you watching, officer? It's Godzilla! How does this look like a monkey? What an idiot. I'm allowed to say that too. He was a jerk. Any jababble, here they are, side by side, once again. I have a soft spot for these, and the rest of the Yubi's Fingerines line. And I will give them a solid star in terms of detail, a solid star in actually being, you know, comfortable finger puppets that aren't going to scrape the skin off your fingers. And while the paint isn't great, I'd give it a half a star, so whatever have you. Let's move on. Guaranteed, you'll remember this name.
Number 4, NECA. Little grabby boy coming in at under 2 inches tall.
Oh yeah, NECA is back. On the channel, not making Godzilla figures, but this lovely, adorable guy was part of the Hangers line, I think these were called, that NECA put out back in the day, and I believe this is the only one they made in terms of Godzilla. So this can be removed from his hands. This is where you would slide the wire of your headphones and he would just dangle off them. Maybe these were called danglers. Dingleberries. Anyway, the detailing on this little gentleman is rather nice. The eyes do look a bit lifeless. I feel like we could have used a different color there, but the decals are okay. He does look a little wonk-eyed out. The detailing on his body is rather nice. Nothing, you know, crazily impressive or anything like that. I like that the tongue isn't just fused to the bottom of his mouth. It's actually separating out over here for a nice roar. And the painting on the fingernails, his underbelly, his teeth, his mouth, his eyes, holy shit, even his toes. It ain't bad. It ain't bad at all, really. It kind of looks a little bit like the V1 2014 figure they put out. It's so dark you can barely tell most of the colors that are on him. But I enjoy the detail. He hung from my headphones for quite a long time. He's been retired to the 2014 shelf, and I think he looks really great. I don't remember what I paid for this though, so I can't really say, hey, was it worth the price? But at the point in time when these were coming out, I was kind of buying anything 2014 that I saw in my local stores. And I just keep this in his hands, so he retains his look. Solid star in terms of detail, solid star in terms of paint, passable for something this small. Now, more NECA.
Number 5, NECA and WizKids. Over 2 inches tall.
Yeah, before these things released, I'd never heard of WizKids, and I'll be honest, I don't think I've heard of them since these. They are fine little mystery minis, and it did take me a while to get the entire 2014 lineup and Showa and Heisei another time. But it's 2014 day today, so let's take a look at them. Up first, we have the standing victory pose Godzilla, and the detailing is simply divine. Bumpy, textury, sharp, and painful. These little things looked really, really good. A bunch of the doubles that I had eventually just became like little ornaments I would put in my car. But look at that. I think these things were like $5, which, yeah, that was a bit ridiculous. But just look at this thing, man. It's a tiny little statue. I don't know if these things were worth $5 or whatever, but honestly, I think they look good to this day. Just look at that adorable little toothless face. I mean, the fact that he's got pupils at all is amazing. Even if he do look like an adorable little gecko. Minor detailings on the dorsal fins, moving into his body, his legs, his toes, which will be painted. His underbelly looks fantastic. It's good. It's damn good. Now let's take a look at one of my favorites from this set. It's Godzilla standing in the water, and I love that the little base over here is translucent. I mean, you can't see his feet in there because obviously they don't exist, but the detailing on this little translucent base looks great. It's a bit dusty. And even the figure itself, by and large, is rather great. Dorsal fins don't have as much detail as the other one did, but the rest of the body surely does. His nails and underbelly will be painted. His eyes and mouth will be painted. Looked like he got a little messy with the strawberry sherbet. But regardless, for a little minifigure, this works. This works very, very well, and I love the curve of his body right there. Very nice. Godzilla's got them curves. But let's put this gentleman down and take a look at the male Muto. The male Muto scared the crap out of me after I first got it out of the packaging because look at him. He's all spindly and this other stuff. Unlike other figures at the time, the Muto figures actually featured some movie accurate colors on them, as they featured the more so black and gray look to them, save for the eyes. I remember looking at these wings and thinking, he's got that Batman cape, son. The details are rather nice, and yet again a bit dusty. Jesus. When those Kaiju Bengaichi came out, I missed them, and now they're even more expensive than they were at release. But this was a fun little item to have. I really like the male Muto's design. I was always a female Muto enjoyer more, but look at this. It's nice. You put him on your desk and he's just standing there like, hey, fuck you. Sprechen Sie which, here is the female Muto, which I have always loved. The detailing on this gal is very, very nice. Much better than the male Muto, I would say. She's got her hoofed feet. She's got her crazy friggin' amount of arms and everything. Lots of tiny, tiny little details on her face. There's even gonna be some detailings on her arms as well. This is a very fine looking Muto figure. It's just, you know, tiny. But regardless, I think NECA and WizKids did a great job, and I really do wish NECA did a female and male Muto figure back when they had the ability to make Godzilla figures as a whole. As to how that would have turned out, I can't even imagine. But NECA always did a great job with their alien stuff, so who's to say the Mutos wouldn't have been just as good? And now, finally, Godzilla expelling his heat ray. Although his dorsal fins aren't lit up and it's not blue, the detailing on this thing is just as good as the other Godzillas, and the attention to detail, giving a little bit of a spiral over here on the heat ray part. It's very nice. I do believe the heat ray expelling variants were the rare items of these things. I couldn't tell you honestly, but I remember the feeling of getting the heat ray versions of both the figures being a very extravagant feeling. I remember at one time the heat ray versions version's kind of going for somewhat of a pretty penny on eBay, but eBay isn't the law, and it's filled with people who think they have something rare, but they don't, and yet they overcharge for it. The details are lovely. The paint apps are nice. I love the heat ray so much. Would have loved it even more if there was some blue on his heat ray and his body. Regardless of how and who I love most, these are lovely figures, and I'm going to give them 2 solid stars in terms of paint and details. Alright fam, we're moving into familiar territory now. Let's get started with Bandai Japan.
Number 6, Bandai Shokugan. Or Shokugan. Over 3 inches tall.
I believe I got this at Comic-Con 2014, where I was dressed up as Godzilla 2014 and just gloves and a mask. It was either this guy or the Kiryu. I'm not exactly sure which, but this was my introduction to the Shokugan line, or the Shokugan line, and I really liked what I saw. I mean, the detailing was on point. I felt that the paint was exactly where it needed to be and looked as good as it could possibly be. Yeah, he's got a little baby face. Yeah. But the detailing on this little gentleman is, oh, wow. Very, very nice. I don't think this is the exact same mold as the Movie Monster series figure. We'll take a look at that once that figure comes around. I don't think this is a smaller version of the Movie Monster series Garagoji. We'll take a look deeper into that once we get to that video, but damn, you gotta admit, the detailing on here is damn lovely. His little claws are going to be painted. His arms are nice and armored up. He's got the underbelly paint moving up into his neck. I mean, the toes on his elephant feet are painted up. This is a lovely little Godzilla 2014 figure to have, if you have it. If you don't, I don't think you're really missing much, but sheesh. I like how this thing looks. I love that I have him in my collection still. Yeah, solid star in terms of paint and detailing. And finally, some articulation. Both arms will have a swivel. Both legs will also have a swivel. And even more surprising is going to be the very malleable swivel at his tail. I do believe you had to attach the tails to these things once you got them out of the boxes, so that actually turning is rather nice, and I like it, and that's a solid star. Whew. Okay, fam. One more.
Finally, Bandai HG. A fair mixture of above, directly at, and above 2 inches tall.
The Bandai HG Godzilla 2014 set. Unfortunately, though, it is incomplete. I still have the little pamphlet doohickey that came with these, and as you can see, Godzilla, Muto, and Godzilla version Spitfire, which is the only one I could never find, and now I shudder to think what it commands on eBay.
No way.
But yeah, I'm glad I kept these, showcasing a piece of Godzilla history that's now a decade old. Really nothing too crazy going on the back, so let's just take a look at the figures. Godzilla, I feel, looks pretty good for a figure that's mostly going to be without paint. Most of the paint, as you can see, is going to be on his underbelly, chest, crotch, titties, the whole 9 yards. But unlike other figures we've taken a look at today, even though he is small, he is going to have a tongue that is fully painted, teeth that are going to be fully painted, and the classic Majora's Mask, Odola, beady, shiny eyes. I think he looks really, really good. And the detailing alone is, it's your typical Bandai totally killing the game type shiz. From the tip of his head, through his back dorsal fins, all the way into his tail, the detail's gonna be great. The arms are angled out and down like many 2014 figures were, and the legs look good too. Got them elephant feet toes a bit more separated than they ought to be, but hey, Bandai took a lot of liberties with this guy. Just fantastic. Now for the male Muto, he looks pretty good too, when his arm doesn't fall off. Shit. We're gonna have very basic looking detailings on the wings over here, but I ain't complaining. I had to this looks so funny. I had to remove his arms and wings to just showcase all of the detail on this little guy. There's a lot of it. It's very impressive. Love that the red paint on both him and the female Muto are going to be metallic. Very, very hard to be mad at how good these turned out. The base color is going to be this weird grayish brown, and like I said before, the tips of the arms are going to be metallic red and almost copper, just like the eyes. And despite being so small, he is featuring some great detailings. Two-toed hoofed feet, his hooked arms. For a figure so small, he's pretty big on the detailing. The male Muto is going to come with this monolith that you put behind his wings over here. That way, when you put him down, he will be able to stand, because without that chunk of nothing, he won't be able to stand. Although Bandai didn't offer much more until very much later in the game, it was nice to have a male Muto from them that wasn't all scrunched up. And now for the female Muto, who is going to be showcasing more of that metallic copper on her arms and on her eyes being a bit smaller than the males, but the detailing being right out in front for you. Tiny and intricate little detailings on the back of her head and the back overall. She's got the pregnant little belly, the little alien queen arms and everything. And for a while, I thought these two were practically the same figure because they look so similar, but clearly not. It maybe doubtful. Her arm fell off. Yeah, if I had anything to complain about when it came to the Mutos from Bandai, they don't like to stay together too well when you're handling them. But I can't be mad when they look this good, and I really do wish the Movie Monster series would just take it back a couple of years and just give us a female Muto and a male Muto. Well, we already got a male Muto, but you know what I'm saying. Wouldn't mind this color scheme either. Honestly, I wouldn't even mind if they were entirely out of scale, because when did the Movie Monster series ever care about scale? Just look at her. She's a lovely mommy. They may not be entirely accurate to their on-screen appearances, but still, we got a male and female Muto from Bandai. And I am going to give them 2 solid stars in terms of paint and detail. Just look at them. Lovely.
Shokugan, movie, King, NECA, Sham, Gorgo, Raba.
CCP. That's about going to wrap up this here episode for the Godzilla 2014-a-thon. You see how I kind of moved through them pretty quickly? Could you imagine 7 videos of that throughout an entire week? It's not a huge workload, but it would have been a pain. It really would have. But anyway, until next we meet, friends and neighbors, hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope I'll see you here for the next one. Whatever that may be, I don't know. Peace.